Hey guys, so thanks for joining in. We're going to go ahead and talk about graphing quadratics in Vertex Form. You'll remember that we've already talked about standard form. Standard form is f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c. This comes from what we know about polynomials. So if you know standard form and polynomials, then you'll be good. Now, vertex form for quadratics is actually f of x equals a times x minus h squared plus k. No b in this one, no c, just an a value. This is actually going to be a whole lot easier than standard form. It's easier to graph with. It's definitely a whole lot easier to find your axis of symmetry because, well, it's just kind of hidden within the form. So we're going to go ahead and open up our notes. Vertex form, we're going to go ahead and rewrite it, and I want you guys to go ahead and label two very important things. And that's going to be your vertex. Your vertex is actually H and K. We use both of these letters here as placeholders for the x value and the y value of this coordinate pair. And there are only 3 steps when you guys are graphing in when you're graphing in vertex form. Your first step is to identify and plot the vertex. You'll want to remember that your vertex is HK. Now, when you guys are setting up your vertex, it's going to be super important that you remember H is always flipped. And the way that I remember is, heck, it's H. And K is very cool, kind of like that chill friend that's just like, K. They're very cool. They just kind of go with the flow, and they're not going to change signs. They're going to keep the sign that's with it. More on that when we do example 1. Your second step and your third step are both very similar to what we did with standard form, which is you're going to make a table of values with the vertex in the middle. Remember, you're going to want 2 points before and 2 after, so 2 and 2. If you don't remember the calculator steps for that, it's going to be y equals. You're going to plug in whatever equation you have, so something like this right here, into y equals. Then you're going to click second and graph, which will actually end up giving you, the table of all of these values. Your final step, which is your absolute hardest, and if you know me, I'm just kidding, you're just going to end up plotting the points and then drawing your parabola. And you want to make sure that it's a smooth parabola. A parabola is U-shaped. It's either opening upwards or it's opening downwards. It is not a V, it's a U. Let's go ahead and open up and follow along with example 1. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my calculator right here. My calculator, yes, it is color. It's got a screen on there, but it's got the same functions as ours. You go ahead and turn this brightness down. Maybe turn it up. There we go. So your first step is going to be to identify your vertex. If you've got your formula in front of you, which again will be on your formula chart, it literally just matches up. So your vertex for step 1, your H here, it's not going to be a positive 3. Even though it says that, you want to remember that your H always flips the sign. So you got to go, ah, heck. And you change it to a negative. But your K is very laid back and it keeps the sign. It's like, okay. So your vertex, that coordinate point, is going to be -3, -2. We're just going to plot that in. So -3 over 3 and down 2. Your second step is to make that table. Now you can either have it this way or you can have it this way. I just have more room to make it horizontally, so I'm going to set it up like so. 2 before, vertex, and 2 after. And I'm not going to fill in the numbers right before because sometimes it's not always going to be the number directly before or after. We're going to go into y equals right here. You guys are hearing Jax is getting in trouble. Parentheses, and these are super important. You're going to do x plus 3, close parentheses. And I hit the squared button instead of using that caret. This is a whole lot faster. That 1 or 2 seconds that you save is going to help you in the long run. -2. Second graph. And I want to start at my vertex. So we're going to find -3, -3, -2. And then right before I've got -5 and -4. And it goes 2, -1, -2, -1. And remember, we've got our axis of symmetry going down the vertex, so we know it's going to be completely symmetrical, and we're making those Oreo cookies right there. Final step, let's plot these points. It's going to be -2, -1, -4, -1, -1, 2, and then -5, 2. There you go. So it's definitely a whole lot easier than standard form. We're going to go ahead and do this next one right here, and we're going to go a whole lot faster now. So if you need to pause a little bit more, please be sure to do so. Right. First step, find your vertex. H and K. You've got a +1 there, but we're going to make it into a negative. And your K is a 5. You've got -1, 5. And I'm already setting up for my next step, which is my table. I'm just going to plot it all at the same time. Ooh. So we're going to plug this in right here. And just to get rid of this, you're going to hit the clear button. We're going to do -2, parentheses, x plus 1 squared plus 5. And let's go to our table. You remember we left off at those same points, so we actually have to go down to -1. And look, -1, 5. Right before it, you've got -2 and 3 and then -3, -3, -3, -3, 0, 1. And something that you should automatically recognize is because your A value is negative here, it's not going to be a happy face, but it's going to be a sad face. It's opening downwards. So let's go ahead and plot those points in. -1, 5. Got 0, 3, 1, -3, and -3, -3. And this parabola, even though it's a little bit stretchy, kind of a, oops. Okay, it's still going to be a parabola, whether it's completely stretched out or it's if it's compressed down. So I want you to think about this, and girls, we all know this. Okay, we just got a hair tie here. If it's stretchy, it's still holding that U shape. It's still a hair tie, or I can smush it and we can kind of, and it'll still be kind of a parabola. This next step, this last problem, is really what's going to be different than what we've worked on with all the other ones. As you get more comfortable with this, you can automatically just write your vertex as HK. So I already know that this 2 is going to be a positive, and my K stays the same. H changes, K stays the same. And I'm going to go ahead and plot this point right here. I know it's going to be opening upwards, so we'll just kind of keep waiting. And let's go ahead and plug this into our calculator. You'll want to recall that when we're plugging in for a fraction right here, we're going to do alpha y equals 1 over 2. And when you do this, you have to click the right arrow, or else it's going to get stuck. And then you can continue like normal. Going to my table, and oh my goodness, look at those. See all these fractions? We do not want to graph those. Those are going to make our life difficult right now. So what we're going to end up doing is we're only going to write the ones with the whole number. So there's 2, -6. And the one before it is not a whole number. But right before that, you've got 0 with a -4. And on the opposite spectrum, you've got 4, -4. So I'm going to go ahead and graph this. Got 0, -4. And then 4, -4. And I don't know if we're going to be able to get 2 on each side, but let's go ahead and check. And you'll recall, no matter what the number is, it's still making that Oreo sandwich. We've got a -2, 2. And if the pattern continues, it should be 6, -2. Or sorry, 6, 2. And look, 6, 2. Two and 2. All done. So we're going to go ahead and draw your parabola. And ta-da! Make sure you've gone over this again. If you have questions, please come with them. We're going to be going over something using Vertex Form tomorrow in class. Thanks for watching.